Let's see. Okay. Let me see if this is working. Hold on. Yes, it is working. Hello. Okay. So, welcome to another episode of Growthpreneurs. It is Saturday morning, and admittedly, I was running late to this live stream this morning because this is authentic content, right? So I'm going to be as transparent and authentic with you as possible. I was definitely running late this morning, but we're here, we made it. And if you're listening right now, I would love for you to engage. Never pass up an opportunity to introduce yourself. Never pass up an opportunity to be on a thread where a few thousand people are going to see this live. They're going to see the comments. They're going to read the comments, and the most valuable comments are going to stand out. So tell me who you are. Tell me what it is that you do, who it is that you serve, link back to, your profile, whatever, in the comments, because I always want my threads to be a space where other founders can connect with each other, where other entrepreneurs and consultants can connect with each other. So thank you so much for joining me. I know that it is Saturday morning. I hope that you're having your coffee or tea, or that you've already worked out this morning. But let's start. The topic today is how founders can create authentic content. And I feel that I want to preface the importance of this, especially going into 2022, why this is important. When people ask me all the time, like, how did you build the personal brand that you've built? How did you grow 1 million point something followers on LinkedIn, almost 1.2 million followers on LinkedIn? How have you done this, right? Starting with just a cell phone, no business, nothing. And I didn't go into content with the idea of building a personal brand. I was just going in with a testing mentality to see if it would work. I didn't come onto LinkedIn really knowing the kind of accepted unspoken rules of the platform, where you were expected to show up as a quote unquote professional, right? Where you were accepted to show up scripted, really, especially at the end of 2018, in the beginning of 2019. So when I started to create content, I was just really being myself. And that authenticity on a platform where a lot of people at the time were showing up very scripted, were showing up very kind of like in a studio, were showing up where we could obviously tell that they were not necessarily being themselves, stood out, right? And that's the thing. Like, if you're a founder and you don't stand out, there's a big possibility of missed opportunity, not just the ability to attract new clients, right? But what about the ability to attract other leaders, right? Potential partners, potential mentors, potential investors that could help take your business to the next level, okay? Potential communities, right, that you could plug into and grow your business, learn from them, learn from other leaders in that community, partner with them, collaborate. Like, there's so much on the table if you continue to remain invisible. And the number one way for you to begin to stand out with the least resistance, right, with the least amount of tech, with the least amount of resources that you would have to put into it, that will give you the most return, is to truly just start creating authentic content. Now, there are things that will start to happen. And why is this so important? Because, Ogilvy recently did this case study. And if you don't know what Ogilvy is, it's like this big marketing company in the UK. I believe they're in London. If not, then don't quote me on that. But they're a pretty big deal. And so they have found continuously that like the trust factor with people creating content is just so low, right? People are so sick and tired of looking at content that, all looks the same. Like the Instagram influencers that take a picture in the morning and their makeup looks perfect and they're in obviously a very staged setting, in matching pajamas all the time, right? Where obviously we probably know that that's not really how they wake up in the morning, right? So this level of trust, because content has been so fake of recent, has really diminished. So the only way to combat that, the only way to combat and to earn your prospects' trust and people's trust that you're really trying to reach online is to actually just be authentic. Okay. So you'll notice that your content is working. And I just want to say that the currency of your content, right, should be ultimately trust. Like you need to earn trust from the people that you're trying to reach and people that may be associated with them. But what are the byproducts of increasing that currency? What are the byproducts of earning trust over and over and over and over again throughout the month, throughout the year, right? So there's a lot of byproducts of that. Number one, people are more likely to reach out to you. Remember that you're a complete stranger on the internet and that people really don't know who you are, and that being a complete stranger, they may not feel safe, or they may not feel that you're important enough or can help them enough to actually reach out. So number one, you'll start to see a lot more connection requests coming your way. You'll start to see a lot more people reaching out to you and asking for your help, right? So this is inbound, high quality leads and potential opportunities for podcasts, partnerships, so on and so forth. So like just this morning, I got a message from a prominent female figure in the speaking world, and she wants me to speak on her national radio show. I didn't ask for that, right? She saw my content and she saw that I was associated with someone that she trusts, right? So then she sends that message. She would never have sent that message. She would never put her brand in a position where I could get on a radio show and, act crazy and tarnish her brand if she didn't already have a level of trust by seeing my content, by seeing the associated people in my network that are similar to her, and by just like looking at my profile, right? So these are the type of things that we have to consider on someone else's end. And this is someone that I haven't even talked to on the phone, have never had a conversation. Like they're just reaching out, right? And she's done over $2 billion in sales. How does that happen, right? That's a compound effect of trust. So you'll also see more people buying from you without you having to have as many touch points with them. So maybe right now you're having to do 3 sales calls, 2 sales calls, 1 long sales consultation, one-on-one sales calls, whatever. One of the things that you'll start to see is that those will start to be required less and less, and that eventually you could remove the sales call completely and they could just buy either in a one-to-many setting or just directly from your website, right? So these are just some things. So how can you start, right? Number one, you have to be honest about why you're on LinkedIn or why you're trying to get on social media in the first place, because it's not the same for everyone. Some founders really just want to get on because they do need new clients, right? They do need new customers. So in that case, you're going to want to market yourself, market your brand a little bit differently than in the case of you reaching investors, right? Because what your clients and your customers are interested in may be a little bit different than what your investors, potential investors, are interested in. So what do you want? Who is like the one person, like the one quote unquote avatar that you're really trying to reach? by investing your time on a platform like LinkedIn. And if you don't know that, like if you don't know what you want and who you're trying to reach, I mean, I would say really dig deep. You should know that, right? This is an intentional platform where you'll get much more from it if you know what you want from it. Okay. So ask yourself and be honest. If you want new clients, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't like this new stigma that like selling is bad and that, you know, trying to find new clients on LinkedIn and get business is bad. Like that's a huge function of LinkedIn. Don't get it twisted. So if you're on LinkedIn and if you are just starting in business and need new clients, then be honest with yourself and put that as like your top priority so that you know who you need to reach out to, connect with, create content for, right? If you're looking for investors, if you're looking for B2B partners, whatever it is that you're looking to do, just be honest with yourself about it and put it as one thing. I will say this, if you're trying to do too many things at once, especially when you're starting to create your authentic content, you may start to confuse people. So when you first start, focus on one goal. All right. So that's either to get new clients, to get investors, to get, you know, your number one goal is to get a bunch of paid speaking engagements, to get on podcasts, to grow your podcast. Like it should start with the highest priority one. Now, that's not to say that as you grow, right, as your visibility compounds, as your trust compounds, that if your number one goal was to get paid speaking engagements, that you're not going to also get invited to podcasts and things like that, right? It's kind of like a snowball effect. Yes, you will. But in the beginning, you really need to focus on one thing and one person. So once you know that and you've decided, by the way, you know, I have to say this, I totally forgot to mention it in the beginning. I'm having a private masterclass at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. So that's like in it's 11, so 3-ish hours. And we're going to be going into these type of things a lot more. And even what I'm going to mention about content a lot more and like so much more than that. It's about 2 hours. It's completely free other than the 2 hours that you have to be present and invest your time, right? And there's a live Q&A. So you could ask me questions about marketing yourself, about, you know, targeting prospects on LinkedIn, messaging them, building your email list through LinkedIn, you know, what content you should start with. Like you could literally, I love the Q&A. It's my favorite part. So you could ask me 100 questions and I don't leave until all the questions are answered. So if you want to attend, you could register at ugrow, www.yougrow.club. Okay. And there's no recording. So you're either there and it's important enough to you or you're not and you miss it. Okay. So you can register for that at ugrow.club. So let's start about the content. So now that you know like who you want to attract and what you want, like what your metric is that you're going to look to, you have to commit, right? Because we can't go into things saying like, hey, I want to impact more people. I want to reach more people, but I also don't want to put in the time, the energy, and I don't want to put myself in a vulnerable situation sometimes to create content. Like you can't have the best of everything and not do the work. So if you want to truly impact people, and I know that you're probably the type of person that does, if you actually want to reach more people and build an emotional connection with them, and we'll talk about the importance of that shortly, if you want to go from like commodity to really being somebody that stands out like as a leader in your niche on LinkedIn, then it's just logical, you know, following that you're going to have to create content and that it's not going to be once in a blue moon. You're going to have to create it consistently. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to take an hour a day. It doesn't mean that your skills will not compound. So what will initially take you maybe 10 minutes, you know, in a month could take you 1, right? So it doesn't mean that it's going to be draining. In fact, it shouldn't be if you're doing it correctly. And I want to clarify that as well. If you're currently creating content and you're not getting engagement and you're not moving the needle in terms of all of the byproducts of earning trust, right? So more people are not reaching out. More people are not showing up to their consults with you. More people are not buying from you. More people are not joining your network and following you, then something's not right, because that should be happening, especially if you're putting time and energy into something. All right. So you have to commit, because trust is a byproduct of consistency. It's a byproduct of the little things. And, there used to be this marketing rule of 7. Well, that was when people were seeing like 500 pieces of content or 500 advertisements a day. Now people are seeing 5,000. So you have to 10x that rule, right? So now let's assume that people have to see you 70 times instead of 7 times before they take action. If they have to see you 70 times and you're not posting daily, it's going to take a very long time. It could take up to a year if you're posting once a week, right? For them, more than a year, for them to see you 70 times, right? It'd take a year and maybe 3 months. If you're posting twice a week, it could take like 6 months. If you're posting 3 times a week, it could. So you want to compress that. If you post once a day for 70 days, they'll see you 70 times. If you post twice a day for 30 days, they'll see you 60 times. So Courtney's calling, it's her birthday. So let's just, again, authenticity. Courtney, what's up? I'm live. Well, I mean, it's your birthday, so happy birthday. And this is an authentic content live. So yeah, so what, Courtney, since you are live, I think they could hear you, but how has creating authentic content changed our life?
Oh my gosh.
Or your life?
It's changed my life and, our lives in many different ways. Again, inbound leads, meeting different people to collaborate and to network with. And, we've just built a business around that, right? We've built a business around, being authentic. And that's why people even like to be around us. So
yeah.
That's how it's changed our lives.
Yeah, like this moment right now, but I'll call you after. Okay. Yeah. And actually, going back to Courtney, right? Going back to Courtney, when I started creating content on LinkedIn, within a few days, within less than 20 something days of me just posting one video a day, very imperfect videos that were just sharing things that were on my mind, Courtney reached out to me. And actually, one of the reasons that she reached out was because I was almost one of the only people that were showing up authentically. I wasn't in a studio, right? I wasn't trying for things to be perfect. Like when things happen like that, I just let it roll, right? I was just sharing. And she reached out, and that led to a phone call, which led to several phone calls, which led to a friendship, which led to eventually us becoming co-founders. So don't limit yourself. There are so many people that would probably feel more comfortable reaching out, not just for your service or your product, but also to just share that you've made a great impact on their life if you just start, right? So let's talk about how you could start. Now, we're using the ultimate currency of authentic content as trust, right? So for me, I like to look at what is going to accelerate trust in the least amount of time, right? And if it were text, it would be text. If it were, imagery, it would be images. But when I look at the data, and I'm a person that also looks at the data because I want to take my own bias out of it, it's definitely video. And there are certain things and reasons for this. And I know that some of the introverts, and trust me, I'm an introvert on this. If you're an introvert, put introvert in the chat. I want to know who you are. I'm curious. If you're an extrovert, put extrovert. But some of the introverts right now are just like, oh, I'm out, right? Like, this is not happening. I'm not doing video. I'm definitely not doing these imperfect videos, but just hear me out, okay? We have to really have a mindset of service. Like, if you really care about your prospects, again, if you don't, then this isn't going to be authentic. But if you really care about the people that you could serve in your prospects, then you really have to think about them, right? You have to put them first. You have to put their experience first. And what would allow you to trust someone more? Would it be just seeing their profile photo in a bunch of text posts over and over? Or would it be seeing them at least once a week on video, right? Allowing you to see how they really are, allowing you to see maybe different aspects of their life. That's why you probably have a propensity towards someone like Garyvee, because he's so authentic. You see him in the office when he's in the office and he just shares some wisdom. You see him in the car, you see him with other people. And he's just like, that he knows what he's talking about, because you see him answering all these questions like in a split second, like right in the moment. And that's not a staged thing. So he's allowing you to experience his knowledge and to experience really his brand through video. Probably the biggest people that you feel connected to online, Oprah, even, right? Even though she did it in a different way through a show, has probably had something to do with video, right? So let's not negate the power of video just because it may make us uncomfortable, or, it may cause us to get out of our comfort zone a little bit, right? So when it comes to accelerating trust in the fastest way possible, you're going to want to start with video. Now, that does not mean that you need a whole production, a whole team, a whole editing. Like, let's start simple with just your phone. Every single one of you on this call, on this live, probably have a phone, right? Doesn't matter which phone you probably have the video function on your phone. And your phone really has access to all these channels, including LinkedIn, where you could reach people. What is the difference between you creating something and it flopping and it not getting engagement, and then you getting frustrated and wanting to quit, and it actually moving the needle, right? You getting a validation that you're progressing and then you sticking to it. That difference is going to be predicated by what it is that you talk about and how you deliver it. Okay. It's not going to be predicated by, oh my gosh, this video is pretty, it has the perfect captions, you're in a great environment. Like, some of the most engaging and viral videos have nothing to do with perfection and everything to do with the emotional delivery of a message, right? It's just how someone felt, or what they were documenting, or a thing that was brilliant that they taught you in just a few minutes or less, right? Maybe 30 seconds. Okay. So we have to understand that there's really just two types of videos that you're going to create. You're going to create videos that will share personal experiences to build an emotional bond with your audience. Now, why is this important? Based on Harvard Business Review, people that are emotionally connected to you are more stickier to your brand than any satisfied customer out there, right? So I hope that you heard that. And they're more likely to buy from you, but also buy 50% more in the amount of purchase, right? Just in my experience, they're also longer retained clients or customers, and they're more likely to refer other clients and customers. And there's like two facets to this, by the way. This could be like literally a whole thing, but there's an authentic content strategy for prospects, for people that don't yet know you or are still experiencing you in the public on social media. And then there should be another one for your clients, right? That is a little bit more vulnerable, a little bit more private. They have earned that right to experience you in that way. So Yeah. And somebody that does that very well without you realizing it is actually Garyvee. What he's building with V Friends and his private community, he's not sharing the same stuff on social media as he is with his internal community. And he does it in a very seamless way. And that's kind of whether you have a community or not, something that you would want to model, right? A mindset, a practice that you would want to model for your business, whether it's an agency or you're just a coach or you're a consultant or whatever. It doesn't matter how big your business is right now. It just matters that you could apply these same principles. Okay. So that's number one, is understanding, okay, we're going to do some video. You don't need all this fancy tech. You can start with your phone. We're going to share personal experiences, but not just random ones, right? You want to share personal experiences that will help the people that you're trying to attract. And that's the powerful part of your personal brand, okay? And that's the difference between creating authentic content that doesn't sell, right? That doesn't move the needle, that doesn't attract the right type of person, and creating authentic content that could 3, 5, 10x your business within just a few months, right? So you have to know, this is why one of the first steps is who you want to attract, because you have to know what their struggles are. If you know what their struggles are, if you know how you can help them, then you know on a daily basis, like what personal experience you could tie to a lesson that could serve them, right? And of course, this is very nuanced, especially without me being able to show my screen and things like that, which is why if you want to dig a little bit deeper into this type of stuff, then you should join me in just a few hours. Go to www.ugrow.club. I'm having a live masterclass that really digs deep into this authentic content stuff. And only do it if you're going to be there. And if you're not, don't ask for the recording, because we never release the recordings. We want to do it for people that it's important enough. Your business is important enough to you. Creating authentic content, you understand, it's the time right now, and it could change your business. If that matters to you that much, then you'll be there. And again, that's www.ugrow.club. I know I have to say it slower, because then every single time when we go back to the comments, people are like, oh, you said it too fast. So I hope that you caught that. So we moved to video. We understand why the authenticity is important, that we're going to share personal experiences. But there's another thing that you start to share, right? You actually, I know this is going to be very shocking, but you actually share things that help your audience, right? And like in an educational way, not an emotional, personal connection way, right? So really some of the secrets, quote unquote secrets, that you may be withholding, like some of the times, a lot of the times you just should put it out there. Like if you audit, if I were you, whoever you are, I would literally audit like your biggest competitors. I would see what they're putting out there, and I would just put more in terms of better, right? Like give your prospects better material than anything else out there, and they will follow you, right? They will return to your content over and over and over and over again, because they're learning, and hopefully they're taking the things that they learn, they go actually do something with it, and they actually make money. Like I can't tell you how many people just from the free masterclass message us after and we're like, I used this strategy that you talked about and I got 3 clients, or I grew 1,000 connections this week, or it's incredible. And that's just from the free material, right? So people actually criticize me. Like I've had people say, you're giving too much away. Like you need to like scrap some of this presentation. Like it's too much for free. And I'm like, well, I don't want to create something that doesn't actually give someone the steps that they could take to then go take action on it, right? So that's just my brand. That's who I am. And again, you have to be authentic to who you are. If you try to be someone else or copy someone else's model, if you try to say that you care and then your content doesn't reflect that, and you withhold so much that it's just a waste of time for your prospects to watch your stuff, then it's not going to be worth it for them. And then you can't blame them and say, hey, I'm not growing my network, right? Nobody wants to engage with my content. That's something that I also want to talk about with the mindset piece is like, you're not entitled to anyone's attention, anyone's time, anyone's energy, anyone's engagement. You have to earn that. And you even like, once you build a big network, you're still not entitled to that. You have to earn it not once, but over and over and over again. And I find it funny that like people complain with algorithm changes, but why are you focusing on things that you can't control instead of, you know, using that same time, energy, and attention to commit to just creating better content, right? So that people engage and so that it just spreads to more people, right? So I don't know, those are just things that I kind of think about pretty often, but that's why I don't spend any time complaining. And it's actually, people don't like just the data here. They don't like to hear complaining from people creating content online, right? They have enough problems of their own. Why are they going to engage with you if you share something like that from a negative frame, right? And just remember, like, what type of impression, what type of emotion do you want to leave your readers, your viewers with every single piece of content that you create, right? Like, did it make them feel inspired? Are they walking away from this content better, right? Was it worth their time? And if the answer to all of those questions is not a yes, then return to the drawing board, because that's another thing that Ogilvy has seen is that people are like, they see so much bad content, right? That they're kind of like, have this like, basically like, unless the content is great, it's not going to stand out to them. Like if your content is just laissez-faire, average, then it's not going to get the engagement that it once did, because people are like burned out from content. But if your content is truly great, if you put in the effort to truly help your audience, it's going to stand out. So it's not necessarily about just consistency, right? It's also about qualitative consistency. These are things we're going to be talking about in the masterclass today. So go to ugrow.club, www.ugrow.club. It is Courtney's birthday. She's my co-founder. So I'm going to be giving her a call right now and then preparing for the masterclass. We have some great things for those of you who join at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. I know this was a little bit long, but I want to reserve a lot of this for the masterclass. So I'll see you there if building your personal brand is important for you. I hope that these like principles really helped you. Just remember, always put your prospect's experience before your comfort. Sometimes we have to get out of our comfort zone to be able to serve the people that we want to impact at maximum. So thank you so much for your time. God bless you. And again, that's ugrow, www.ugrow.club. Ciao.